Hello, third graders. How are you today? So today I'm going to talk to you about something different than I usually do. I usually talk to you about reading, but today I'm going to talk to you and we're going to look at some social studies. For social studies, here is Miss Linton looking just as gorgeous as ever. Who remembers this? Who remembers what this is from? Oh, I hear somebody said it. Yes, this is from our showcase back in February. So our first ever showcase 2020. Remember all the hard work each and every one of you did on your countries and your ancestors and finding out about the country that your ancestors came to Union County from. So that's what we're going to look at a little bit more today. And we're going to go a little bit further into that. And you guys are going to do an interview of somebody from a different country or culture. And that's what we're going to talk about. First, we need to talk about the different steps in interviewing and so on. So what we're going to be working on in social studies is the culture in our community and in our reading. And this says that I can compare languages. And so here are some different languages from different countries across the world, different foods from countries across the world, and different traditions of various groups living in local and regional communities. And that's what we're going to be looking at. So let's talk about a little bit about customs and culture and watch this video. Okay, so that's what we're going to look at, the different languages, the different foods, and the different traditions. The beauty of the world lies in the diversity of its people. So all the different cultures make up one beautiful world. So by interviewing an adult family member or friend, you will realize that sharing cultural differences will encourage you and help you to discover self-awareness and respect for others and their cultures. So let's take a look at how in the world do we do an interview. Here are two students that conducted interviews, and I want you to notice what are these kids doing well during their interviews. So let's take a look at this one. I don't know how many of you have heard of LeBron James before, but this young man, Logan, is interviewing LeBron James. And watch Logan and listen to Logan. Mhm. Okay, so notice that that young man had a card with him. He had cards prepared or questions prepared for LeBron James to answer. Let's take a quick look at this handsome little guy. He's a little bit younger, but he does a really good job interviewing Curtis Samuel from the Panthers. Okay, so again, good interviewer is prepared with questions to ask. And that little guy was prepared. He knew exactly what he was going to ask LeBron James. And notice, I don't know if you noticed, but both boys were looking directly at the person that they were interviewing. So they did a really super good job with that, I thought. So here are some interview tips that you need to remember. Be prepared. So have questions ready to ask and know what you want to ask when you're getting ready to interview someone. Make eye contact. Don't be looking down. Notice that I'm always looking at the camera when I'm talking to you. You need to make eye contact with people when you're talking to them always, not just during an interview, but always make sure that you make eye contact with them. And also you need to speak slowly and clearly. Just like you're talking to someone, you're not going to talk really super fast and so they can't understand what you're saying because you might be nervous about interviewing. So you can't do that. You can't talk fast. You have to talk slowly and clearly so that they understand what the question is that you're going to ask them. And lastly, be polite and appreciative. Ask them nicely if you can interview them. And then when you're done interviewing them, thank them. Maybe even give them a little thank you card to let them know how much you appreciate their help in the interview. Here's some possible interview questions. Now, if we were in school doing this, we would talk about one or two of them, and then you would come up with a partner or a friend or a group actually and figure out some interview questions on your own. But since I'm here and you're there, we can't, and we don't have our friends or classmates with us, we can't really do that. So I'm going to provide you with 4 interview questions that you might want to ask, and this has to do with what we're looking at as far as traditions and language and foods. So what special holidays does your country celebrate is a question that you could ask, and make sure that you're writing these questions down on a piece of paper so that you have them available. You could ask them to tell you how to say something. Maybe you want to say, I love you, Mom, since Mother's Day just happened this past weekend. You could ask them how to say it in their language or a different language that they use in the country that they originally were from. Another question that you could say are, what are some popular foods in your culture? So what are some foods that you enjoy eating that they don't really have here and that you can't really get here? What are some popular foods would be a good question. And the last one, are there any interesting things that you'd like to share with me about your culture? And that one you might want to let them know ahead of time before you actually start interviewing them. You might want to give them the questions ahead of time so they know and they're prepared to ask you for them. And maybe they'll even give you a taste of some special foods. But I just did the last one. You can come up with some more questions. You don't need that many. I gave you 4. 4 is a good number for interview questions. And you also need to make sure that you're writing down their responses. Whatever they say, make sure that you quick write it down so that you can share it with us as part of this, because this is actually your assignment to do for this social studies lesson, is to interview someone from a different culture. So there's one world. In that world, we have many different cultures. And that's what we're going to find out about. You're going to find out about the traditions and cultures of the people that live around you or that you live with. So, thank you. If you have any questions, you can contact me. But remember, you're going to be interviewing someone, asking them questions, and writing down their answers about their different cultures and traditions that they have, where they're from, or the country that they're from. Alrighty. Have a great day, third graders. I will see you soon, I hope. Love you guys. Take care.